So President Trump has decided that he's going to activate and essentially deploy the DC National Guard because violence has gotten so bad in the city. He's also going to federalize the Metropolitan Police Department. And right up front, I'm telling you, I'm calling bull. I've been in this area in the DMV for 22 years. I've been here since I was 10. I've been in the DC National Guard, the National Guard that is being activated and deployed in the city. And I've got to tell you, I don't believe what Trump is saying, but let's get the details and then we're going to come back and talk about it.
Let's go ahead without any more interruptions here. Let's go ahead and dive into it. So Trump came out the other day and he said the following. This was a bit of an eye-opening moment because I was like, uh-oh, where's this going to go? He says, we're having a news conference tomorrow in the White House. I'm going to make our Capitol safer and more beautiful than it ever was before. The homeless have to move out immediately. We will give you a place to stay, but far from the Capitol. The criminals, you don't have to move out. We're going to put you in jail where you belong. It's all going to happen very fast, like the border. We went from millions pouring in to zero in the past few months. Total lie, by the way. This will be easier. Be prepared. There will be no Mr. Nice Guy. We want our Capitol back. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So,
before he moves forward, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a Doge staffer that was attacked last week or the week before that. And that's when Trump initially said, hey, if nothing's being done about the crime in DC, then we're going to have to do something about it. Well, this is what he's doing about it. And I'm going to be honest with you. The city doesn't seem any more dangerous than it has been over the past couple of years. I know that we had an uptick in crime and stuff in 2023. They said it was down last year. They said it's even further down this year. But you saw one guy get attacked, which I talked about. And I said, hey, salute to that guy for protecting the woman that he was with. But what is Trump talking about? He gets one guy that he is familiar with that gets attacked. And all of a sudden, it's time to change up DC. Yes, we need to stop the stuff that's happening in the city, but it was happening before this guy. And I don't know that deploying the DC National Guard is necessarily a long-term and permanent solution.
Oh, as soon as I saw that, I went, uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. We are not getting the whole story. We're only getting a little sliver of it. This is the cover story. Well, what the hell are they planning on doing? Then, of course, we get this. He says, this is now yesterday, he says, Washington, D.C. will be liberated today. Crime, savagery, filth, and scum will disappear. I will make our capital great again. The days of ruthlessly killing or hurting innocent people are over. I quickly fixed the border. 0 illegals in the last 3 months. D.C. is next. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay, so now you're beginning to see a little more of what's going on here. Now he's not just talking about homeless people. He's talking about liberating Washington, D.C., which, by the way, totally ironic that he brings up crime, savagery, filth, and scum, because, of course, it was Donald Trump who brought us the January 6th riot where he and his thugs tried to overturn the election. There were a whole bunch of criminals in D.C. You pardoned them, including the violent ones, 1,200 of them. So, right off the bat, that annoys me.
Yeah, so everybody knows about January 6th. Everybody knows about the insurrection. What you don't know is immediately after the insurrection, they had to place barricades around the Capitol because they weren't sure if those crazy far-right people that were supporting Donald Trump, supporting the MAGA movement, they didn't know if those people were coming back. What you saw after that was a bunch of reports talking about the conditions that soldiers were sleeping in, like, oh, we have people in the Capitol, just basically a bunch of chaos that followed the insurrection. And that's not going to be mentioned here, that the thing that Donald Trump incited was a cause for concern where the military was actually activated because there was violence in the city. I don't know if you guys remember the police officers that were attacked, the people that were climbing into the Capitol, storming the Capitol. One woman ended up getting killed because she was repeatedly told, hey, stop what you're doing. Don't climb through that window. If you climb through that window, something's going to happen to you. It happened. There was a bunch of outrage as if she wasn't in the wrong. So if Donald Trump wants to talk about the crime in the city, he has to also mention the crime that he invited here. There are things that happen in the city. Let me make this big screen for a second. There are things that happen in the city just like any other major city. There's a bunch of poverty here. There's a bunch of homelessness here. There's also a bunch of economic opportunity here. But everybody is not seeing it. Everybody is not getting money here. And they are looking for ways to extract what you have, take it from you, and make it theirs. And those people absolutely 100% have to go to jail. They have to go to prison. They have to be held accountable. Because if I'm working 40 hours, I don't live in DC, by the way, but I am very, very close to the border of DC. I've worked in DC. But the people that are doing this type of stuff, if they're not being deteriorated, being deterred from doing it, they're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep people, keep robbing people, taking people's cars, take your money. And if nothing's happening, they're essentially being incentivized to keep going. So I do agree that something has to happen in terms of people being robbed or people being hurt or people being killed. I agree 100%. But how about we give more funding to help get more police officers on the street so people aren't working, double shifts 3 and 4 times a week? That would be more beneficial. That would be more beneficial because what you guys also don't know is the DC National Guard, the soldiers that are deployed, they do not have the authority to arrest people. They don't. They do not. So you activating, I know they said deploy. I know he said deploy a bunch of times. I don't think that I'm familiar with that terminology of deploying the National Guard in terms of domestic operations. They activate the DC National Guard and they deputize them to work alongside the police, right? In conjunction with the police. But they don't have weapons. They don't have the authority to arrest people. None of that. They are a deterrent. What that means is they're going to stand in the way of people. They're going to highlight things that they see if they're sent out there, but they don't have the authority to put you in handcuffs, throw you in the back of a paddy wagon. That's just not the way it works. And in my opinion, they're endangering the soldiers in the DC National Guard. I remember back in 2020, 2021, actually 2020 specifically, when they were having the George Floyd protests, there were people that are standing on the opposite side of the civilians in the DMV. While people have come into the city to protest, they're standing opposite of the civilians. And that's causing dissent between the National Guard, the military, and the civilians that normally come to the city to do stuff like watch the fireworks or go to certain events. That's typically what the DC National Guard was activated for, to help with domestic operations and keep people safe. This is not that. Arresting people, trying to get them to do more of the police's job is not the same as helping people along when they're trying to go watch fireworks or when the Pope comes to visit or when there's snow emergencies or weather emergencies and we're helping get people back and forth. This is something completely different. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't like it. I haven't talked to a single person that I know back in the DC Guard to ask them about it. I don't want to put them in a position where they're saying something or I got information from them and it ends up being up on YouTube and they get in trouble. I do not want to put anybody in that position. So I haven't talked to anybody, but I will tell you from my time in, a lot of people ended up getting out of the DC National Guard because of the situation that happened in 2020 and 2021. Now, if you want to see the rest of Kyle Kalinski's reporting on this, I will link his video down in the description. But I just wanted to give you guys a brief overview of the details and tell you from my personal experience. I was there for 12 years. Not to say that I know everything about it. You know, I wasn't a general or anything. I'm not necessarily meeting with the mayor or with Trump or anything like that. I might not have my thumb on the pulse, but, you know, I'm close enough to hear it.